it went out.
Which is,
Which I don't know. You went to Mike.
They both went up last Thursday.
But this time it's.
On Thursday, Mark Walker sent it out.
Yep, Mark sent it out.
Mark sent it out?
Yeah, so
They both-
forward to,
Agenda. It's with the agenda.
forward to, what's Bob's name right there?
I'll have it in a while.
I'll give you this.
Yeah, I don't get to see that.
Looking for it, right?
I'm a big guy.
It's Bob, it has our motion, so, so it's the Karen, am I?
Hey.
I don't know.
Anybody else on the lead?
I just got Karen's
Rob.
Yes.
No.
Oh, Millie?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, you know,
Yeah,
ROB,
yeah, I got it.
ROBK?
Yeah, I got it. Okay, tell them I just
So
sent it.
you're, if I have your password, you have a lot of cash, correct?
Well, I got a log cabin with a tumor.
You got a log cabin with the
I'm
two?
a half.
Is that for us
Log
to share?
cabin with a
Can we
tumor.
share?
I got another one.
Oh, what? Thank
Tumor's
you.
bigger than the log cabin.
I got another one.
We see that Mark had to go to her. When it was just a little cottage, like the one next door,
Did he get it yet?
with my grandmother's second husband's.
Is that right?
Yeah, and his sister, that's what the road is named after, the next road up from here,
Webster.
it's named after his sister.
Okay.
But they own from there, they own
Okay.
a little cabin next
So
door,
it's just something.
that was his brother's,
Okay.
Albert, and Henry.
Okay, cool.
And Brown. And they own all the way around the public beach.
Good.
Yeah.
One, two, three, four. And both questions. We're good.
Yeah.
Good. Wow.
All right,
Good show.
So I've been-
yeah, we're gonna call the meeting to order at 7:04. Welcome, everybody. Nice to see y'all. Those of you who've been remote lately, and nice to see you back, back up here. Oh, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Yeah,
You're like a full house.
Yeah.
There it is.
I gotta see what the better.
Last stretch.
What is the full house do?
all right. Could you close that door?
You're
Wow. We are.
Oh my God.
We'll never get out of here.
Big guys tonight. Wow. We are like,
We
I
definitely
don't even
have.
know what to do with myself with all of you here.
Put money on it.
Yeah, wow. This is
Delegate.
Nice to, woo. All right, well, so we just called to order. Let's welcome everybody. Minutes of last meeting, any adjustments, edits, deletions? Entertain a motion to accept.
Will we accept?
Okay, a second. A second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm actually.
2 abstentions. Okay. Moving along. Hello, guest. Just for the record, could you please state your name and your street?
And Nick, 103 Lake Road.
Nice to see you. Any communications? Okay. Permits, where are we at with permits?
I think we're in good shape. Dobush went to wetlands. It is no longer LMAC because he is off the lake and Lake Wall. He submitted a 5th rendition based on Jim Santos' recommendation with Isabel Kisler. And I believe they're gonna do one more site visit in Blessed.
Okay.
But being it is kind of the time that wetlands is allowing a pipe to go into the lake, thanks to Jim, we're going to see 2 catch basins. So that we can hopefully filter that water better and when it enters the lake. So I think that's where we're at.
Excellent. All right, anything else? Good, all right. dam emergency plan, anything, any updates there?
Did you get it yet at all? You got it?
I did get some,
Okay, no, I didn't get it. Did you, anybody else get it?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it too? Oh,
I actually read it.
Okay, me too. Look at that, Mike.
My next slide.
Same day.
I'm duly impressed.
There's a lot of history in there.
And she sent it down.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
any summaries, comments, anything notable to share? No, after all that reading, other than good history?
No, nothing hit me. It was just fascinating when it was built, how it was rebuilt, when we got the spillway,
Yeah.
because the dam was compromised. I
Yeah.
never realized all that history.
Yeah.
That was pretty.
The history is interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they built another spillway, added on to the spillway, and then took it away again. And,
Oh, wow.
yeah, because the,
They had
Corps
two
of Engineers.
spillways and the
Right.
engineers thought the vibration was bad and both were flowing. So they stopped the second spill.
Cool.
That's what I believe.
That's what I remember is that the second, I couldn't remember if it was the second gate or second spillway, but it was the
It was
spillway.
two spillways. It was
Okay.
kind of weird.
Wow, okay.
David Vanderbilt was the assistant.
It was way before that. It was like in the 80s, right? They rebuilt it in 84,
Is that what it was? Okay.
83, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Water quality?
TRC, our lake consultant, will start water quality collection in about a week. They're starting in May, going right through for 6 months.
is it a little murky, or is it
Yeah.
right
it's
now?
murky.
Or is it rain maybe?
Yeah, it's because of the, I mean, runoff.
Yeah, I think we got 5 to 6 inches of rain.
Yeah, a lot of rain.
You know?
And usually when the lake fills that quick, there's a lot of trees.
So it's like,
Yeah.
Which is good to have the spillway working.
We still don't have the thermocline established yet, so it does mix down further as well.
Cool. Fishing?
they're out there.
Yeah.
Then we're fishing.
We will have an electrofishing survey this fall, which is 19 years since the last one. And I got an email and informed Mark Walter that we got the survey. So they will be out in the fall. They zap apparently, doesn't harm our fish. They come up, they count them somehow and let us know what's in the lake and what's abundant and what.
Yeah.
Can I go to that? I can't.
Just go swimming right next to the boat.
Put you right in that boat. I want to live up in my net.
You see her laying up there? Well, there's a big one.
There they are. Just where.
I remember last time they did it.
I'm gonna give you my aluminum boat, you can go.
It's a caper. Oh, that's good with a yellow stripe. I wonder what that species is.
This water, way to roll this water.
Is there a way that seriously that we can get in and go out with them?
The scary part is I remember the last time it was done.
You do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
I do, yeah, I didn't think it was 19 years ago.
Yeah.
2004, yeah,
Wow.
that's what they told me.
Wow.
How much do they charge?
You know, it's a fisheries division
Excellent.
that does it. So it's
Yeah,
part of their
when are they doing that?
fall. He hasn't given me an exact date. They have a spring season and a fall season. We'll see them sometime in the fall.
And they just do it in one spot. They don't do randoms like.
I don't know.
No,
I think
last
they go
year,
around.
they go right along shore,
Yeah.
inside the docks like this, and they have nets with people, and they put them in the boat, and then they throw them off the back.
Oh.
So it's like,
I'd like to
there's
see that.
2 electrodes in the water, and anything between them gets zapped. And they net them back in the boat and count them and what type of fish, yeah. But they're right on shore, they're right on shore, and they did it very early in the morning, so most people didn't even know that they were out there.
Yeah.
I never saw
How exciting.
Separate subject, the suckers, which typically run the first week of April, ran this week.
Because of the water.
They put it all over the.
Yeah, and the
I
herons,
know.
the herons have been over there enjoying some of
The
the
second, yes.
What are these suckers? What are they? Suckers?
I don't have, I did rivers on them ages ago.
It's a car.
Sucker is a car.
Like, yeah, I'll send you the info.
They fill the stream.
They're
Oh, really?
really
So
weird
how can
looking
they-
mountains.
I've never seen anyone catch one, I've never seen one in the lake, except in the brook.
The bottom feeders.
Yeah.
They don't.
Did anyone see the
I don't
beaver?
know, I got a low level salmon.
Did anyone see the beaver on the lake?
That probably at one time used for ice fishing, and that's how they got here in the first place.
Interesting. I do have a report of the beaver on the lake.
He was swimming, he did a complete.
Well, he gnawed on someone's tree, Leslie Mike, Theophilus. And was gnawing on a tree.
Yeah, he swam all the way around the public beach, came all the way around the cove.
I hope he leaves, because if not, I think we'll probably have to trap him. We wouldn't want to harm him or.
They're looking for a place to stay and form a dam or family,
Yeah.
but I don't think.
I think he was
there's
doing
any
a
good
perimeter
spots.
tour.
We'll go back upstream.
Wasn't the lake too deep for them to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What time of day was it? They were here a couple of years ago, and they.
This was,
Yeah, that's what-
about 7:30 in the morning. I was
Yeah,
shocked
it
to
was,
see him
it
swimming.
was, when did I get the report?
He was big.
Are they the ones from the other side of the river?
It was this
Road or
morning.
what?
Oh, mine was last week.
It was chewing and stripping branches off Theophilus big bush.
All right. Access, safety and regulations. Mark, anything?
Work here?
Yeah, hi. Yes, we're about to start training for lifeguards and marine patrol and gate monitors. And there's an online Zoom training course that all the marine patrol, hopefully they'll be able to take it, that the state will be putting on for the latest regulation changes. And there's usually a topic, but that's coming up. And I think that's it.
Hey, Mark, what are you doing about housing the Marine Patrol boat this year?
Say that again, Bob.
What are you gonna do about housing the Marine Patrol boat?
We're still trying to figure that out. We're trying to have the architect give us the okay to at least pour the foundation walls, so we could tarp over top of it until the whole structure is complete. But we've hired an architect to bring the plans up to code. The previous plans were not to code, and that's in the process right now.
Yeah, the last time we were not able to use the boathouse, the Marine Patrol boat was tied up to the end of the dock and was vandalized. I think it was
Right.
before your time, so.
I know I've talked to Carmen, and she was gonna talk to a few neighbors that have docks, that maybe that might be an option to dock it not at the town beach. So we're looking into that as well.
Mark? Can you
Yes.
hear me? I'll offer up one of my docks, I have 3 of them.
You have 3? That could work.
Yeah, and it's perfect because it's got a U, you know, in other words, you can pull it in, and it's got walk on both sides.
Wow, that's right across from the beach.
Yeah, so if you'd like to use that,
All right, Noreen. I'll have Deb Fisk give you a call.
that's great, thanks.
Great, thank you.
Yep, happy to help. I look very efficient.
No water skiing with the boat, however.
Yeah. No joyride. Just make sure they sign with this.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on that topic? Watershed management plan, any updates there? Okay. Stormwater culverts. Where are we at with that?
Good question. As everyone looks at me.
Yeah. Mark?
I've been delinquent. I will have a better update next month.
I think we got cleaned out after that heavy rain.
Yeah,
That's a good
Yes.
deal.
yeah, probably clean out, yeah.
And,
They did come around, they're starting to come around the corner now.
so, and also to include with that is the, Minicucci Esposito issue.
Mark was gonna look
Oh,
at
the swell, that's,
Well, she's dumping in, Esposito's dumping into and blocking the drain, the culvert,
oh, lovely.
so that it diverts into Minicucci's house and away from hers.
Is that the one, Mark, Walter, that is a town responsibility versus the two neighbors?
I think, is that the one where it's the road runoff and it goes down one neighbor, but they've tried to
Yes.
divert it to the other neighbor's?
Yeah,
Property.
that she's dumping all of her yard waste into that and then
God,
blocking it, and then it has flooded out and caused $150,000 worth of damage to the Minicucci's basement.
And
jeez.
has Isabel been involved in this?
What's that?
Has Isabel, our wetlands agent, been involved in this yet?
I don't know, I've been talking about this for this meeting for months.
I thought Mark was gonna go out and look at it.
My understanding was that Isabel, wetlands agent,
Yeah.
identified it as an issue that the town has to resolve because there are a couple of storm drainage into the lake that were town created, not neighbor created. So we should get the town on this one.
Okay.
All right, I'll review that tomorrow during my land use meeting with Isabel.
Okay.
We should also be watching for, and particularly since it's a town place, stopping people from dumping into those things, because it's
Thank
only
you.
going into the lake and adding phosphate and detritus.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it wasn't 150, but it was in the 5 days.
Significant.
It was significant. I exaggerated there, but,
Well, plus the fact they rent that out, you can't rent it out if it's,
right.
so they're losing income.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should get on that sooner than later.
Yes,
Is that off Woodland Terrace?
yes.
Okay,
It's one house over from mine,
all right.
one house south.
Actually, Isabel discussed it at
of mine.
Delicious the other day. Isabel made mention of it, that was something the town had to mediate, so I hope they do. But the other concern is, can we alert the owner, it's Angela, right?
Mhm.
That she can't dump. I mean, that's just creating
Yeah,
more phosphorus in the lake. And
Yeah, 21.
right, 20.
Hey, Mark,
can there be a
Yes.
Mark,
letter?
it's 21 Woodland Terrace.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, can there be a letter from you or the town
Sure.
stating that you can't dump in that swale?
Yeah, I'm surprised that hasn't happened already, so I'll find out.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Happy to help craft one for you quickly.
Property is the swale.
That's
Well, it's, I think it's technically, I don't know, it's a right of way. So there's been a dispute about the property line. And it's a right of way, I think it's owned technically by Esposito. But there's a clear, there's a deed right of way for the, I think it's the town that goes down, something like that.
Is it right to run the water, or, I mean, even if we have a swale that's taking water to the lake, and it's running off of town roads, we have a historic easement for that water, the flow rates, whatever, and if any lake owner is filling that ditch with things that can wash into the lake, they should be advised that they can't.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a huge, it's blocked now.
No, well, I'm saying that, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying in general, we
Yeah.
should obviously resolve that.
She
but-
purposely blocked it? Well, she blocked it.
Let's just say it got blocked.
Okay.
I'm not going to comment on.
The town could address this in their monthly newsletter.
There's no
Send
love
them a
lost
message.
between,
Yeah.
no love lost between those two neighbors
Oh.
over
I know that.
that boundary line issue. So I'm sure that it can all be tied up in some of that, but nevertheless, it's not helping the
Isn't
way.
it called an A2 survey? Doesn't someone have?
It's been done.
Oh, thank you.
But,
But still,
okay. Budget. How we doing for budget?
You still have in your line for paying your limnologist. I think it was about $2,000 left to get you through to July 1.
Okay.
but that's squeezing it with putting two. We might be a little over, but the new budget will cover it. Do you want me to tell them not to invoice or to invoice May and not June? Well, June won't be invoiced till July anyway, so we're fine.
Yeah, you have $2,052 left in that line.
We're fine.
Okay. I would imagine that the board member stipend has stayed the same.
You got a raise.
Yeah.
2 times 0.
Actually, you also have $2,000 in machine and equipment you haven't used. Well, you've used, no, you haven't used it at all.
Well, wasn't that for the testing equipment?
Yeah, which you didn't do, but I do have a suggestion. And I should have said this in communications. Deb Fisk looked into a message center. Rob, I think you had mentioned that, to be right at the launch area of the beach. And she came up with one, and then I worked with her today and came up with a second. She does not have in her budget the money. If we can, in the range of $1,500 to $2,700, there are a couple of options. And would LMAC be willing to pay for some sort of a message center where we would be putting up whatever it is?
So I'm
Don't
sorry,
be
it's
the
just, this
This
is.
was the message center that,
Bulletin board type thing.
bulletin.
Oh, okay. The bulletin board.
Bulletin board.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And you can buy them pre-made out of the AZAC wood that we could open up and post whatever the latest information is you want to put in there, just like at a state park or a golf course.
Yeah.
There are little things
Mark.
that we put in, invasive species booklets that we would take in every night, I hope, so they don't get ripped off. or-
Yeah, hey, Mark, is that the one we proposed last year and we just never got to it?
Well, last year we were talking about a really detailed
Right,
message board, but right now what I'm hearing is something that would open and close and we could print out whatever we want and stick it in there and then update it whenever.
okay. So it's less expensive, easier to maintain kind of thing?
Well, I think it would give us flexibility of switching out our messaging, and I can print out in large off our map plotter anything we want in color. So that might be a better option.
And is that something we could put in this year?
Yeah, because you have 2,000 sitting in machine equipment, so if you want to vote to authorize me using that towards a message board, I could look into it.
Should we have a motion?
I entertain a motion.
I propose LMAC provide appropriate funding to secure a message center to be placed at Columbia Lakes Gate Launch area.
Second, any discussion? Let's do it. Okay, we're not quite there yet, but any discussion, any details I will just say within the budget that we have.
Yeah, within the budget that we have,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, and you have $900 in supplies as well, so that gives me 2,900.
Yeah.
I did propose some items that we should display there regarding safety and regulations.
Yep.
Some other information, if you will, maybe a little history on the lake. I don't know if we've got the room for what you're proposing, but.
Yeah. Will Public Works be able to install it for us?
Yes,
Okay, so we just need to purchase the actual hardware.
Right.
Okay.
So Mark, do you want me to provide you and Deb with the examples that they made and leave it to you guys? Assuming the motion.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Sorry.
let's-
I think it's a good idea because of the fact it can be changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that'll attract people's attention to actually look at it.
Right.
The stuff that's been designed before can go in there during the proper season, but we could change it over when it's time to be pulling boats. We can be advising people on that. If there's a hurricane coming, we can put up advice with respect to that. You know, it's a very good opportunity to communicate.
right.
The only thing I would just try to think of, in the future is, will it be near power? And because there may be a time where a digital display could be put inside of it.
Ooh, cool.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of thinking out loud here.
There's power by the camera.
Well, what about solar? I mean,
Well, I don't know that solar would work to say power a monitor, but there's Wi-Fi right there. You know, if we decided, whatever we choose, if we could think about the size of a 40-inch monitor in the future, that we could maybe.
Is there power to that little gazebo?
I believe so.
Yeah, so if we're somewhere in that vicinity,
Oh,
you
yeah.
could run the power from there to
Yeah.
get there. And
Well,
I
this
assume
says
it's
there's
gonna
an
be somewhere
LED option here.
near the launch anyway.
Oh, to light it, to actually light it, okay, yeah, yeah, so that, I mean, even so, that even to have light in there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Electronic
Uh,
access.
so, if we could just consider that, you know, in the choice, that could be, that might be helpful. So, okay, any other discussion?
So are they going to definitely, they'll purchase it with our money?
If we approve it,
Yeah,
yeah,
they'll purchase it with our money.
yeah,
We don't have to purchase it, they will.
they will.
Okay, the town will, all right, with the LED lighting.
Well, that, if the budget allows, then, you know, we have.
I don't know if the budget will allow
It
this year,
says
but the opportunity to place in.
Well, right, or buy a unit that's LED compatible and we can add it.
It doesn't tell us how much more it is with the LED. so
Yeah,
can
I mean,
find
we
out.
have $2,900 to spend, so,
Okay.
and they'll install it.
This one was what, 1,400?
Yeah. Any other discussion?
Are we looking at, which one are we looking at for these two?
Doesn't matter, they're gonna let the town
They're gonna
choose.
let the towns, yeah, yeah.
Within the budget, they may choose a separate option.
And
Gotcha.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so move.
Mike, any examples or ideas that you have as LMAC, you can leave them for me.
Yep, Mary
You're
has
looking.
examples here.
Good.
I'll drop them off to Deb.
Oh, perfect, Mary. Yep, thanks. Or stick them under my door and I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll make copies so you both get them.
Okay, great.
All right. Great, beautiful. Let's see here. All right, where are we at with the geese?
There were 3 babies.
Nice.
That I saw today. Well, I saw a family of 3, so I made.
Yeah, it's a family of 6 too.
So how come I'm seeing pairs with there's like swimming around pairs?
Because they're not-
They didn't-
Until they're 3 years old, they're not
That's
able
what
to
it
breed.
is.
But they're in pairs for some reason.
Yeah.
But they usually have like. So, a couple, 2, 3 things. Number one, the Board of Selectmen approved the motion that LMAC had for this integrated management plan and to partner with the town to carry out the recommendations. Example of carrying out recommendations. I've already met with Mark Walter and I'm meeting with Jennifer Lavoy. And we're gonna start an ongoing educational process through social media, the town monthly newsletter, the CLA Ripples, to really try to drive site aversion and habitat changing, which are two of the three elements of this plan. The third element is to curtail reproduction. The final update on curtailing reproduction is twofold. Number one, Adeline. I did go up and kayak through Utley Pond, which is a beautiful little thing until you get stuck in it, which happened about 10 times. No one could access the marshy fields and lands to be able to add legs up there, but they are up there, you can hear them. However, in speaking with Mark and now with the Board of Selectmen's permission, we're going to put together a plan. This year's too late to add legs. We've already got 9 gosling on the lake. So the plan is twofold. Number one, we're going to put together some sort of communications, which will hopefully be face-to-face, followed up with a letter or information to appropriate private properties to allow or ask them, can we add legs on their property? As an example, up in Utley Pond, the Cobbs own a fair amount of acreage up there. Will the Cobbs allow addling of eggs on the property so we could get to that marshy land? The town of Columbia will allow us to get to the marshy land that they have. And there are others on West Street, on Lake Road, and on Route 87. I was told, where does Spider live? Spider Town.
Actually, I heard from Spider today.
He lives on West, right next to the cemetery.
Spider would like to join your group.
Yes, he's got these all over his land. So that's number one, is we're gonna put together a program. We're gonna communicate and get permission to add legs on private property for those who will allow, and or town of Columbia property, which is allowed. And we're going to create a volunteer group of people to do this. One person cannot do this. And Min Huang from Wildlife Birds, etc., from Deep will provide some training for us. It's not rocket science. So that's number one. Number two, on private property, you can obtain a permit to hunt geese, which is a little different in curtailing reproduction. Mark, you may want to address this, but the town may approach some private properties where would we be allowed, i.e. Spider, to hunt the geese on private property. It requires a very quick permit, according to Dr. Huang. So those are the two quote unquote curtail reproductive things that the town has agreed to do. Correct, Mark? Thank you.
Yes, and I even have some goose hunters that would be willing to set up blinds and provide that service if we found them property that they could get a permit.
And that's the Johnson property.
Space.
Yeah, is the Johnson property, is that
Thompson.
or the Spider?
Oh, Spider Thompson.
Thompson,
I think
excuse
it's
me,
Thompson.
Thompson.
Yeah.
His last name is Thompson.
Is that during the hunting season, Mark, or is that?
Yes, it would have to be during hunting season.
Yeah, so that's when in October?
There are early and special hunting season for geese because of the fact that they're a nuisance. And some are in the spring because they go out and hunt on the golf courses at early in the morning before they come. And the prime hunting time is at sunrise.
It's a matter of getting the permit, that's all.
It is, and certainly we can coordinate this and work with Dr. Huang and Mark. But, progress is being made. Feels slow sometimes. And I'm disappointed we missed this season to add legs, but I think we learned a lot and we just got to get a group of people. We need, a good dozen people probably who will go out and really attempt to do this. One or two people just can't do it. So that's where we're at.
So I thought resident geese were protected.
They are not.
Sure.
Resident geese are not. Migratory
Oh,
geese
okay.
are protected. And frankly, when you see 123 geese on the lake in January, that's scary. And we already have, you're right, we have a couple of geese that have no goslings that are hanging around the lake, and we have 2 families, one with 3 and one with 6 already.
Is there a difference in, you know, the hunting regulations permitting and or property size needed for bow versus rifle or, you know, gun?
That's something we'll have to pursue.
I don't know that
I'm not
geese
sure.
are hunted by bow. The hunting of waterfowl is, if you're doing it according to hunting regulations, they have to be in the air. And the other thing that I would be concerned about bow and arrow, because I thought of it too, is the fact that you're shooting, you know, a razor sharp arrow.
Projectile.
Bow hunting is not allowed for waterfowl.
If you miss.
It's not allowed.
Yeah,
uh,
okay.
So
So
we'll-
just a
Have it
question.
in the mud, or the bird could be still flying with it in it.
But we should research exactly when, what, and how can we do this and get ourselves ready for the next, whatever season it is.
Yeah, or if there's some hunting allowed in a season of, well, or either in a season or, to your point, off a season,
Yeah.
what options do we have? I mean, I think anything at this point is gonna be helpful, and
Mhm.
I think we all see the tsunami coming.
I picked up half a bucket today. That's just, are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Okay, well, thank you for that update. Anybody else have any other questions or comments on the geese? Okay. Gate repair,
We still don't have a permit, so I'll follow up and find out when that's gonna be possible. So they're gonna use divers to repair it. But we're still waiting for a permit, which seems to be the story with the state on everything, Hunt Road, culvert, our gate.
all
They're a
right,
little behind.
all right. Smart sheet. Rob? Rob?
He's on mute.
Yeah, Mike, I don't have anything further on where we ended last month. I still have tracking manually.
Okay. Does anybody see the need or desire to manage, you know, try to automate some of the management of the permits, or is the
Yes,
system? Yes,
that would be great.
okay,
I mean, what we're doing now is kind of emailing each other, and once
Yeah.
it's done, we get a letter out, and
yeah,
you know, if we could have a site we could go to update each other.
Mark, what sort of budget would be available, to, you know, it's a single license. We probably need a single license, which is, I think, $400 or $500 a year, for Smart Sheet. And in the beginning, there would probably be some consulting, we can get from them to actually build the application. You know, I don't know, maybe a total of $800 to $1,000 for the consulting piece, which is a one-time, you know, setup kind of fee, and then it's, you know, it's just the license fee after that.
And that's with Smart Sheet?
That's with Smart Sheet, yeah. Is that?
Well, I would put together a solid proposal on what you need, and then we can always find the money. I have a contingency account as well for the town for things that come up that are not budgeted. And hardly ever use the whole contingency.
Okay,
So
so. Go ahead.
Does this get linked into the town system?
It doesn't,
no,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mark.
we looked into that, Bob, and the problem was it it's outside of our internal server where all our employees share information, and it got too complicated to try to bring in residents from Melmac into that system. So we looked into it, but it wouldn't work.
Okay.
So, we could look at what it would take to make that work and how many users we would need if, you know, if it's more than one, you know, and just go through and talk with Smartsheet about what our options are.
So is that the best vehicle?
Oh, Bob, that's a big question. You know, it is I'll put it this way, it's the best, most flexible, adaptable system that I can think of, because it's, once someone's up to speed with it, it's pretty easy to sort of, oh, we need to make a change or an adjustment or whatever. And for a relatively reasonable annual cost, it's something that I know, but I mean, if someone's got other ideas, the door is wide open. But there are, you know, things that can be built to create automations. There can be entry forms that, you know.
There's some templates you can make on it, you can download photographs or plans, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it's simple and it's simple to use, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you can use Excel, you can use this, but then there's all these other very dynamic.
I'm just saying, so the information gets submitted to town first, right?
Yep.
To Jennifer, that's where it starts.
Yep.
So then she sends the information to the committee.
No, she could put it right on Smartsheets and we would be notified that it's on there.
Oh, okay. I thought we couldn't interact with the town. Oh, no, the town has a different
So it's
system.
a different system.
They just have
She
it.
put it on.
Yeah,
Hey, Mike, what I did do is the Excel spreadsheet that we were using, we were reporting on. I actually got a free 30-day trial of Smartsheet. I dumped the Excel data into that, and it just didn't seem like it was functioning that well. Now, personally, I'm not familiar with Smartsheet, so I didn't know the nuances behind it.
Yeah.
If somebody that's a power user could tweak that, it most likely would work for us. But I do have a question with regard to someone getting a dock replaced or repaired, or a seawall replaced or repaired. How would that differ from a building permit for a client in Columbia today? Why is it so drastically different than, you know, to Mark's point? And I remember reviewing this with Jennifer, his admin, and they said it really wasn't feasible for LMAC to be an extension of the Columbia online permitting system. But to me, it seems like it should be somehow. It should be fairly easy to, you know, move into that slot with just some tweaks. And, you know, have an extension of the building permit and or any other, you know, items required. You know, what you click on, oh, I need to submit an online permit for a new deck. Well, I need to submit, now I'm just gonna select an option for my dock. Why would that be any different?
Because it's gotta go to the Board of Selectmen before it goes to the building department.
well.
Okay, yeah.
Well, Mark, before we get too deep in this, Mark, can you comment on why looping the LMAC process into the town's building permit process is currently not feasible?
So the external process works just fine, which is the permit comes to Jennifer and then she launches it into the land use department. Once it's in the land use department, that's an internal system where the employees move the permit from step to step and approve it and keep all their notes within the permit software for land use.
As
So,
an employee of the town.
right. So we have so many licenses, it's all tied to their employee emails. And when the building inspector approves it, it goes to zoning or vice versa, or to inland wetlands, or to whoever has to approve the permit. So that internal process is an approval process. What we're confusing is the external process where someone just fills out a permit and drops off to Jennifer, so she dual feeds it to both you as LMAC, the Board of Selectmen, and down to land use. Land use is the one that's putting it into the internal approval process of land use. The external process of LMAC and the town to the Board of Selectmen is done via email.
So is the issue the access of a non-employee to an employee-only internal system? Is that the issue?
Right.
Okay.
Unless we set up one LMAC member as an employee and buy another license. And then that one member, I can't have it'd be tough to have a committee of 5 all having access. Which then defeats the purpose of your whole approval committee knowing what's going on.
So, Mark, the only difference here is the workflow directions, right? In other words, if I'm submitting a building permit for a new deck in the back of my house
Yep.
versus a new dock on the front of my lake, it's gonna go different directions, right?
Correct.
Different departments. So the workflow, I don't understand why I need a new license just to add on functionality and then divert different workflow to a different person. So when you hit send in the online permitting system, it goes directly to the first selectman's office. And then from there, they hit yes, and then it goes back to LMAC.
Well, I think it's because LMAC right now is not in that loop. And Rob, why don't,
What my idea is to create that workflow so we become in that loop. And, you know, I'd be willing to work with the programmer to see how either that could or could not work. I don't understand why I would need a new license for just some additional small functionality.
why don't we have a meeting down in land use, Rob, you and I, and get some of the people that are using that software and bounce this around. We could even have Permit Link join us on that meeting.
Yeah, I think it's worth reviewing, and then we could at least come away with, you know, here's either it's significantly, you know, a lot of changes or it's not.
Okay,
But I definitely would like to explore that more.
we can do that.
So Mike, are you still going to submit a proposal to Morgan's?
I am not. I think Rob and Mark can work and
Okay.
meet on this and see if there's a way to use one user to integrate, and then there would be one designated person on the committee that would manage the
Depending on
process.
the cost, why don't we have 5, you know, each committee?
Yeah, I mean, let's see what that looks like, but I think right now we're at the point where they need to just explore the feasibility. Then we can look at what the cost would be, and then we can look at, you know,
Which is
how it gets integrated with the committee and the board.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Rob, you're good?
Yep.
Okay,
I'm good.
thank you. Cool. All right, my favorite subject, wake boats, would like to take that.
All I'm gonna say is Henry mentioned it oodles ago, and we kept it on the agenda until Henry came back.
Okay, well, Henry,
Wake boats.
Oh, wait, folks. Well, Mary had brought in some information on that, and they are being regulated in New York and other locations. And they do, unfortunately, stir the water deeper than we want to have it stirred. And so in that fashion, potentially feed nutrients to algae that we don't want to have. I don't want to tie it to cyanobacteria, but cyanobacteria can benefit from the nutrients that get stirred up too. but also the waves when they hit the shoreline are hitting with a force that's more than a regular prop wash is going to do, and the regular prop wash is too much. It's what's undermining our walls and making them all concave and back because the soil's coming out from the back of the walls and filling up the lakes as people have taken tree roots and other things out that were holding some of that back. And so, you know, consequently, you know, I think we need to think about the merits of grandfathering what may already exist, but wanting to not have more wake boats.
So how would you classify a wake boat?
Well, I'm not versed in wake boats, but it seems to me there are a couple things going on with wake boats. One, they have a device on the back of the prop that helps generate a wake and create and put energy into the water. And I think some wake boats actually have some ballast potentially in them to help generate a wave. I would say a wake boat is anything that is designed to create waves that more normal than the boat would be without these devices.
Can you draw a direct line with evidence from this type of boat that you're talking about with these devices to accelerated deterioration of?
There are studies. There are studies.
No, I'm not talking about studies. I'm talking about in Columbia Lake, can you prove that it is a issue here?
Yeah, Mike, when your boat goes by, the waves go up in the air higher than the waves when Phyllis'
Okay,
boat
but I'm
goes by.
asking for evidence.
Okay, so
And so
that's
how do you
visual.
know, that it's that boat? Do you have visual or measured evidence that it's that boat?
I
Or
got
do you,
visual
what about
evidence.
all the other boats that go around at, you know?
If I may,
No, let me finish, because there are plenty of other boats on this lake that go around and make large
but-
waves.
If it does it in a lake in New York, it's gonna do it in a lake, Columbia Lake. We're not unique in that regard.
Okay, but you're taking something that's being regulated because it's potentially an issue somewhere else, and you're saying it's an issue here. Do you have evidence that there's an accelerated deterioration of the lake perimeter?
If I may.
Because of this specific type of boat?
I would say yes, because it's designed to generate and put more
What is the
energy
evidence?
into the water.
Where's the evidence? Where is
The
the
evidence-
evidence to support this? If we are in a court of law, the judge would ask for
Okay, well,
evidence.
first of all, I didn't know I was gonna be put on the spot tonight to talk to this. Okay, but there is evidence. It's evidence in New York. The studies have been done.
In Columbia,
It doesn't matter.
where does the problem exist? Because there are lots of boats out on the lake, and if you watch other boats go around, there's also the double up effect of many boats on the lake at different speeds causing other wakes. So I think, you know, before you go down this road, you should consider no wake zone at all.
Well, I would be happy to have no wake zone and be happy to put no boats on the lake anymore, but we're not going there.
Well,
And I
this
can
is
tell,
where you're going.
well, I can.
if I may, point of, what are you saying, Robert's rules from you? Point of,
It's not a point of order, but
point of order.
it's not a point of order.
It's not?
But no, but I'll yield the floor to you.
Could you yield the floor? Thank you. This isn't gonna be resolved tonight. I think that there's some emotion here because there's a personal agenda and that our chairman should recuse himself until we get.
There are two personal agendas.
Excuse me, that the chairman should recuse himself because you own that vote, that you should recuse yourself until we get the appropriate data. There is data that says certain sizes of lakes, acres and depth of lakes, which is very concerning here in Columbia, are the ones that are enforcing those types of things for wake boats. I'm on the fence on this.
No, you're not.
I haven't done the research.
Okay.
I haven't done the research, and you know me. In God we trust, I will bring you the data, or we should all bring each other the data. But I really do think you should recuse yourself from this, because that's appropriate when.
I'll recuse myself from the debate, but I'm not gonna recuse myself of the position.
And
If
your
that's what
position is.
are you implying that I step down from the board because I own one of these
No,
boats?
I'm glad you recuse yourself in the discussion of this because there's a personal agenda.
Fair enough.
If I owned the boat, I would recuse myself. Steve Harrington wanted to put in a boat thing for a guy and he recused himself.
Fair
Boathouse, whatever that was for that guy. And I think it's a
fair enough.
That's all I'm
That's
saying.
besides the point. Fair enough. So how do you wanna?
Well, I think we have to get the research. I looked at it 3 months ago, 4 months ago. I haven't done, and frankly, I don't think I have to be the only doer here.
No.
If people are interested, do the research. Let's bring in the data. Let's figure it out.
Yeah, can I make a comment on that? I can do the same thing with my speedboat if I just trim the thing all the way up and go like 5 miles an hour. So it's not necessarily specific to his boat
I agree.
or to anyone's wake boat on the lake. If I drive around the lake at 5 miles an hour and I trim that engine all the way down, I can give you probably twice as high of a wake than you'll ever see.
I think
So
that
I think it's more how we operate our boats, you know, in general, as you
And
know,
that
relative to the size of the wake.
some boats have trim tabs,
Yeah, some boats, yeah, exactly. I mean,
so.
so I don't think it's specific to any one boat.
Well, and I think it's also important generally that all boats have a certain impact on the lake based on the amount of time they're on the lake, the speeds that they travel, and how often they do that. So
And how
to
close
say,
they are.
to say that one boat is different, that gets used 5 hours a month,
Mhm.
as opposed to another boat that gets used 30 hours a month, okay? What is the net impact?
I just think
well,
that,
it is the point is, and I started by saying I thought we needed to grandfather what was already here. What we don't need is to have 10 of them, okay? And I do Mary got the evidence originally, and I read some of it, and it was clear to me that these boats do more than a regular boat. Yes, you can put up a bigger weight by taking a regular motorboat out, going slow, putting everybody in the transom or whatever. It's still not putting the same amount of energy down deep in the water as a wake boat is. And so,
When we continue the discussion, I'll recuse myself and we can have this.
yeah.
But wait a minute, but maybe the discussion should be more about not wakeboard boats, but surf boats. I think you're mixing those two up.
Well, let me also say that any
Surf behind the surf boat.
any change here is likely gonna require a new town ordinance.
Yeah.
And there's a process that goes with that, and that also includes DEP review of the ordinance and approving it. So there may be good reason not to proceed, but to be aware of this situation. So I think we need to take it all into account and see where we come out, but we should know what the issues are and what a wake boat can do.
Yeah, and also, every boat is a wake boat. There's no boat you can't, it's powerful enough, there's no boat that you can't wakeboard behind. So whether it has a tower. or
Wakeboarding is different than surfing.
Right.
Do we know how many wake boats are on the lake?
There's no definition. When you got a tower, you have a wakeboard.
There's one boat that gets used.
But the fact now is, we do have to be very careful, I think, about how much we start restricting the use of the lake as far as boating and everything else. I mean, you know, okay, so now we decide, you know, these type of boats can't be used. And then next year, it's a different type of boat that we don't like, that's gonna be used, you
I don't
know?
think it's
This
a
is, wait, let me finish.
I don't think the question.
This is, please, you know, this is a recreational lake, you know, it was man-made, and it's always been a recreational lake. I've always had concern about what we restrict on what people can do. Now, granted, you gotta be, you know, we have to find that happy medium, because, you know, you can't let people just do anything and obstruct, you know, safety and obstructions that, whether it be rafts and things to that effect. But we gotta be careful how incrementally we keep going on this thing. You know what I mean? You know, well, yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that right now, but we'll talk more as we understand.
If we see, as we felt we saw in horsepower, that there could be an environmental impact, and there is definitive proof there's could be environmental impact, the higher the horsepower you get in terms of stirring up the lake bottom, particularly when it's averaging 15 feet in depth. That to me is one issue. I don't know yet. All I know is there are states or communities based on acreage and depth of lakes that are starting to restrict, if not even ban. And
Of course, but that doesn't mean it's right either. I mean, there's lots of regulations in the state of New York that we would never think of.
yeah, well, I don't know.
It's a whole different thing than what we have on the lake. We have small boats,
Yeah,
and the wake is gonna be so big.
exactly.
But the boats you're talking about are 25 feet long, and they got, you know, they're
Right.
250 horsepower.
If I
I like to
may-
put my big boat in the lake, you know, it's only
Whoa.
1,200 horsepower.
Well,
You want a wakeboard behind it, that
This-
makes a nice wake,
this may be a moot
but that's not
moot
gonna
issue.
happen.
And let me tell you why it may be a moot issue, because I believe wake boats, surf boats, whatever, have a horsepower that our lake would not allow.
Absolutely, well, most of them do.
Yeah.
I mean.
The vast majority, unless
his
you
boat-
had it,
They all,
Not to use his boat
unless
as
you
an
had
example.
it, the
that's,
engine,
I had
Right.
to replace the engine to make
which
it
is
work,
exactly what we did.
and make the boat only go about 30
Right,
miles an hour.
it's exactly what we did to get a Chris Craft on this lake. So if that's the case, it's a moot point.
Right, because you're certainly not gonna go out today and buy a boat, a quote, wake boat, that's gonna have the horsepower.
It's gonna be
allowable for this.
250 to,
It's gonna be way up there, just like,
you would,
So without
Maybe way
taking
out.
sides, I just want to make a point that the boats, the types of boats are literally classified as yachts now. They're 25, 26 feet long, they've got massive amounts of tonnage, or I don't even know what it is. And they have, you know, 500 to 700 horsepower. I mean,
That's what I mean.
these are huge boats.
But even the 20 or 21 foot launches are 250 to 350.
exactly.
So I think it may be a
Horsepower?
moot point, horsepower, yeah.
They're way more than that.
So
Jet skis are
I
that.
say we table this, and I'm happy to take a look at the data and not bring it back. It's a moot point.
Okay,
Does that work?
thank you.
Just,
And next time I will absolutely step away and.
Just as,
Yeah, I just think it's-
That's a very fair point.
just as a curious point, I think, Henry and Dave, you may have been the only people that were here, but at the time, at one time, there was consideration of banning pontoon boats.
That's right.
Exactly.
At the
Yes.
meeting, at the meeting to outlaw jet skis in the 80s.
Yeah.
People would stand up and they outlawed jet skis, pontoon boats, hydroplanes,
Oh, my God.
and all this other
Well,
stuff.
the hydroplanes got banned, right?
Not exactly, not this kind of hydroplane, they're talking, you know, like Miss Budweiser hydroplane.
Like a,
Oh.
oh,
What was the problem with the pontoon boats?
People thought they were too big.
People, well, at the time, there was no pontoon boats, they were homemade at that time. You pretty much had a piece of plywood over top, so top of two.
But also, they thought they were too big.
They were just, it was quite a contentious.
I'd say
meeting.
half the owners of
I
this.
do remember that.
So it was technically the town outlawed jet skis, pontoon boats, hydroplanes, and a couple other things, but the DEP didn't approve it.
Right,
So if you wanted to stick with only our guidelines or what we did in town,
basically,
they are outlawed.
what the DEP said is if you want to outlaw a jet ski, you have to outlaw all boats. Because a jet ski is.
No, they
yes,
didn't say that.
Because a jet ski, a three-seater jet ski is considered a boat. Now, I don't know if they consider a two-seater, but a three-seater.
They're
And if
probably,
we wanted, if you wanted
the three seaters at that time.
If we wanted to eliminate, no, yes, it was, because I had. If
You
we
haven't
wanted to
done
eliminate,
that time, no.
yeah, I was at the meeting.
Yeah.
So the DEP said if you eliminate jet skis, and we were talking about all jet skis, because whether it was 1, 2, or 3 is what the town was trying to eliminate. It fell into that category, you had to eliminate all boats. And that's what made the town back off. Not because they decided not to do it, but because they would have had to eliminate all boats and it would never fly.
The DEP said that it was too restrictive. That's what they said. They didn't say you had, they never say.
No, it wasn't. It was a 3-seater.
Okay,
What
well,
was included in the actual.
either way,
category.
each have a different recollection of it. Either
So
way,
Henry, welcome
it did
back.
happen. All right. If you ask, if
So we're
anybody, if my
tabling
son
with-
ever asks you, tell him that hydroplanes are outlawed,
Yeah.
because I've told him that.
There's one other thing that was out there too.
What is, they are outlawed, right? Hydroplanes
Yes,
on this lake.
I'm not
Yeah.
exactly sure.
A hydroplane boat?
Yeah,
I don't even know what that
I
was.
don't think so.
I think,
I've
yeah,
never seen
maybe the small little boats are out.
no, there's.
There's something, I got the thing, I didn't bring my phone.
Okay,
I'll bring it in next time, the thing from the DEP that says what they did.
okay. All right, Egan dredging,
Isabel just got to me on, oh, no, excuse me, this is Dobush, I asked her on both. Dobush was approved by wetlands, just so everyone knows. They're still working with him on the angle of the pipe from the catch basin to the lake, because he wanted it to go 90 degrees, and there was an issue with 90 degrees. No big deal, it was approved, so she'll work that out. Any update on the dredging? No. The only thing Isabel and I spoke about on the dredging was sand has an environmental impact on a lake bed. And therefore, if they can get a permit or need a permit, there may be an environmental approach that can be taken.
Dredging what? The town beach? What?
Well, the town beach, I don't know where the sand's coming from. I would think the town beach and that huge culvert has migrated around. Forever, they've been cleaning out the garage for the marine
Yeah.
patrol and around the dock. Now it's migrated down past Egan's to Niles and their docks. And there's a large amount of sand now that is just way over in that cove. So Egan's, we met with wetlands and Egan's asked to dredge, and wetlands is looking into it.
All that sand is from dumping the sand at the beach for 30 or 40 years. It doesn't come from the roads, that's a different type of sand.
Didn't it change though when they changed that big walkway? It
Uh,
seemed to get worse.
When they put in the wood dock, they have the Jersey barriers under it, so the wave action drops the sand on the opposite side,
Oh,
right? And so it drops into the boathouse.
Right.
So if they got rid of the Jersey, it would just kind of,
If they took the dock away, it would.
it's a jetty, like an ocean jetty, where
Yeah.
you see a lot of sand and it's always on is that the leeward side of the?
Yeah.
on that side.
The windward side
Oh, so-
gets scalloped and the leeward side is where it's suspended and drops.
The town has dredged that out every year.
Yeah, they dredge it.
By the boathouse.
Yes.
So I don't get it all, so it's filling up Scotty's boat.
Unfortunately,
That's what we're talking about, Scotty's
It's,
boat.
it's well past the boathouse,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
you know, the response, the initial response from the town was, well, we've always done to this, so.
Yeah. It's always gonna move from the beach to that cove.
That doesn't
Whether
really
there's a jetty
help
or
the
not.
town resident whose,
Correct.
dock is being covered.
Oh, I agree.
And stairs to their property are being, stairs are gone on Niles property.
That's great.
So there you have
Did
it.
they get permits from
So-
Matrix? No, I didn't think so. They just
no, the
put
town
out-
they've never taken out permits.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. For any of the stuff that's down there, so where do we just we'll keep an eye on it? Is this-
Yeah, Isabel's got to take it up with wetlands, and there may have to be a permit.
That was
There
true.
has to be a permit, and there has to be a permit for that entire area. Because the town's been doing it forever, and then to say you can't do over here, 10 feet away. You know, let's get this done right.
Correct.
Is that where the sandbar came from too, the beach? Sandbar across the lake?
Ricky's
No,
plane,
that didn't come from across the lake.
No,
That's impossible.
that's been, there, it's been built, but it also was part of, that area over there, there is natural sand under the soil, under the soils over there. But that point is also, migrating down, and is added on to Walsh's Point. Because the depth there has changed about, 12 to 14 inches in the last 20 years.
The sand has to get suspended so it can travel.
Right, well.
So it wouldn't travel across the lake. Technically, I guess.
It's
go around the
following,
lake.
following the currents around the
Right,
lake.
Mike,
as the wind
it's probably your
circulates.
fault. Yeah.
Mike,
damn it all.
you gotta go counterclockwise.
Yeah, you gotta go the other way.
Moving along, what about the beaver dam?
Mark is going to have a meeting, Mark, with LMAC members, Mark, and the trappers and vet before the season. It's been suspended or before the season. Was that it, Mark? You had-
Right, we're gonna try to get a better clarity on what needs to happen. I know we applied for a special permit, but because it was a complaint, it was pulled because they didn't want the controversy. The permit could be done during the actual trapping season, but there has to be an imminent concern, and the concern wasn't that imminent because Route 66 right now is not flooding. So we're gonna have a meeting to get a clear game plan of what DEEP wants to and DOT want to accomplish with the beavers and the flooding.
Mark, has anybody ever thought about maybe filling in that area on the road, from the roadside, rather than to touch the two ponds on each side? In other words, make the road higher in that area.
Well, that'd be up to DOT.
Well, I know, but I mean, in the discussion.
What is the trapping season?
It's not till December, I think.
So it's on hold or it's been withdrawn?
Well, it's withdrawn. Well, it was denied, so it's on hold until there's either an imminent problem that would override the concern of the Conservation Commission, or we wait for the trapping season.
Okay.
There was still confusion as to where the trappers were gonna do it. That beaver dam that's active is on the other side of 66. And our understanding was they're gonna do it miles away down by the earthen dam that empties a lot of water into the lake. That's why we asked for an LMAC person to be a part of that meeting, so.
We should add beavers to our agenda since they've been spotted in the lake.
Yeah.
Because we don't need
That's a good
Giardia in the lake, and historically, at one point, beavers were trapped to remove them for that purpose. They were here a couple of years ago. They seem to have left on their own accord. I think it's because they cleaned out all of the maple saplings and stuff that they were chewing on to eat and had to move to another territory. Whether these are migrating all the way down from the other side of Route 6 into the lake on an exploratory mission or not, we won't know because we can't, tag and trace them. But we can certainly, as we're walking up, in the Joshua Trust Utley pond area, watch for new nods, because it's quite clear something that was gnawed last year is gray. Something that's just gnawed looks nice and tan, like it's fresh wood. So we can look for activity and know where they are. They're not likely to try to do anything downstream because the water is not running that far, and the damming is too steep.
What about otters? No, with otters.
There was an otter I spotted 2 years ago, and
I
I,
saw one the other day.
Muskrat or not?
It
Well,
was an otter.
I've seen muskrats before, but I haven't seen
There was
an
an otter
otter.
walking along the top of my wall.
yeah,
How,
I've seen both, the otter and the.
is a muskrat's a little bigger than like a squirrel, right?
Well,
It's a lot bigger than
than.
muskrats.
It's like half the size of an otter. It's not, it's like a small otter.
But they're thin.
They're maybe a foot or two.
A muskrat looks more like a hedgehog with a rat tail. And an otter has a hairy tail, as opposed to a rat-like.
If something was hopping
That
along
pretty
our walls.
face. That would probably be an otter.
Could be mink,
That little white mink was around.
mink.
There was a white mink for a
There's a
while.
lot of mink on Woodland Terrace.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe it's a mink.
The Kings had a little
they're
family
little.
last year.
Yeah, it's about,
They're like, they're a tiny little weasel.
yeah,
Cute little guys.
yeah.
Is a muskrat a weasel?
No, muskrat is,
Rat.
it's.
What's a beaver?
The
They're
same
all,
thing as a.
they're all rodents, right? Are they all rodents?
Road, it's a rodent, yes.
So muskrat and a beaver are rodent, but a mink is not a rodent.
Mink is not a rodent, no.
Mink is a weasel.
Mink is a weasel, right?
Hey,
Like a fisher cat.
hey, Mike, can I add to the conversation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mike, so I had the action last meeting to talk to the DEEP, which I did. I contacted the office and I spoke with Jeffrey Krukar, and he's the one responsible for issuing beaver permits. He had told me that the Director of Public Works for Columbia, along with the DOT combined, had submitted the permit for the traps for the beavers. And he didn't tell me it was denied, but I understand from Mark, it was recently been denied. But what he stated is the action that he had was to send their biologist out to look at the area and then get back very quickly to the town of Columbia and the Department of Transportation with a decision. And I think it was put on hold or either denied because they may have looked at it. I haven't confirmed that yet, but they said the normal trapping season was in November, I think it starts, and that may be a better opportunity. So what I didn't verify is whether they sent the biologist out yet to see that area or not. So just information I want to pass along.
Right. All right, does anybody else have any other items? Mark called me earlier today and had said that all the committees in town are being asked for a set of goals. And that, so that the town can best help and support us in what our goals are. So the floor is open to suggestions for goals for, the next fiscal year.
Like what are our
You
priorities?
talking about long-term or short-term?
Yeah.
And, Mark, what,
Well, I'm nervous because I just got 7 action items tonight, so I don't want you to create any more goals. So of the 7 you just gave me, pick your top 3.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I think we're not gonna decide on this tonight. I mean, this is
Correct.
this is a big
Why
question.
don't we all think about it and we'll bring it back?
Yeah,
next
I
time?
mean, I think, I mean,
So what are the major projects we want to work on?
Yeah, what
Right.
things.
We're working on them all.
Yeah,
Stormwater drainage.
I mean, yes,
Just to ask, this is an advisory committee.
yes.
What is your charge? How does your creation, your charge read?
I don't have the copy of that. Do you?
No.
Basically,
We do have one.
we do have-
It's in the town charter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I haven't read it in a very long time, but it's effectively to promote, the health of the lake and safe access to the lake and activity in the lake, so.
You did that in the annual report.
Right, It's in the annual report. But that's a great point, is to tie it back to, you know, what our mission is.
Protect and preserve the water quality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, well, and
Protect
safe
quality.
activity
Yeah.
on the lake as
Recreation.
well, you know.
Right, and.
Yeah, let's see what it says. I'd like to see what it says.
It's a great question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank
And
you.
I chair several committees and commissions in
Yeah.
town. And it's always good to go back to the original charge,
Right,
and before you go wandering off.
oh, yeah.
Does it seem like we're wandering?
Pardon?
Does it seem like we're wandering?
Just took.
Touche.
Thank you for the
Yeah,
Also, I brought some information from the Conservation Commission on beavers, which you could distribute. It just tells you the benefits of beavers. And I also wanted to add that I'm Joshua's trust steward for the Utley Preserve in the watershed. And I have been for 40 years. And for the last, I'd say, 8 years, anyway, there is no beaver activity on the north side of 66. There are a lot of lodges, there are 2 dams, but they're all not in use. And if you see a beaver in the lake, it is most likely a 2-year-old. Because when there's an active family in the lodge, in a lodge like there is south of 66, there are normally 2. There's a bachelor pad because mom throws dad out while she's giving birth and nursing. And she takes care of those kids for 2 years. And then she will mate again. And she
Interesting.
whistles them back, you know, they mate for life. And she throws the 2-year-olds out. They have to leave the pond. And so you'll see 2-year-old beavers everywhere. I was driving up Utley Hill on the road, okay? One night in a torrential rainstorm, and I saw a little beaver, and he was trying to build a dam in the rush of water that comes down the hill. He was out there in the dark putting sticks together because they are instinctually, when they hear rushing water, they want to build. And of course, the 2-year-old is very inexperienced.
That's great.
But the lake itself, probably what you see are the 2-year-olds, because it's not a suitable location.
No.
It's too deep.
Yeah.
The water doesn't rush. So I had a 2-year-old beaver try to build a dam, and he was marginally successful in the middle of the stream, between the lake and he made himself a little pond he put together, but it failed because in the summer it all dried up. And he never could attract a mate, so he moved on, but his little dam is still there.
So you sure it's not a beaver
So-
causing that problem over in that ditch?
Yeah, that's right.
And
I'll
Blame
check.
it on them?
I'll check.
Yeah, I'll make copies
leave
for it.
this with the
Thank you,
secretary.
Thank you.
That's very informative.
Where does that come from? That,
I got that at a
Beaver
conference, at an open space conference.
Courtesy of the Beaver Institute.
Beaver Institute, no way.
Okay, I'll send it out to everybody.
See if there's a, email address or something.
Yeah.
Right on there.
Okay,
And there were two beaver dams. There's the big, long one. This is north of Route 66. And this one dam has been there for my whole lifetime. And the second one is a beaver dam that was created where Tom Fagan built it. And that's another
This
one.
one? Yeah.
But the smaller one is breached. But the big one, even though it is not maintained in any way, is still there
okay.
after 8 years. They're very clever engineers.
Thank you.
Since we're on beavers, I just got an updated picture. We have one eaglet this year.
Oh,
And it's grown pretty quickly. I'll get it out to everybody.
an eagle.
Yeah.
So anything else that we have for tonight? We're gonna end, about on time here. We have a motion to adjourn. In a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Good to see
Night
you.
all.
Thank you. Thank you, yeah.
Too late.
Too late.